If I was starting a business from scratch today, there are definitely some things that I would do differently than whenever I first started my first business. And there are definitely some things I would do the same and tell you all to do as well. First and foremost, number one, I would bring people into my corner that helped me expand my vision and helped me really think differently and build the business if I didn't know how to build a business from scratch, which I definitely didn't know how to do whenever I first started my business. And that's when I brought in a business partner, which of course you all know, you all love, Lauren.
Hi.
So Lo, today I really wanted to have this video that we could talk through all the different things that we would do differently that maybe we did that we really loved whenever we first started our first business together. I know whenever I was first coming into the world of entrepreneurship, I really didn't know a lot about it, and bringing like you in to like be a business partner with me, it was like so natural. It was so the thing to do, and like I don't think I would have actually started a business without that element. So I know there's a lot of different like aspects to starting a business now, but back then I didn't, which is why like coming together with a business partner was like something that for me, I would do the same. And I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so many things have changed. I think the landscape is always shifting in business, and especially with technology right now. I think when we first had this vision of coming together and creating this, we really saw it being in person. And so as it shifted the model and as it transferred through the pandemic and as we had to shift it, we learned a lot. And so I think to answer your question, I loved starting the business with you. And I think it's always really helpful to have somebody to be able to soundboard off of and have that support and being able to do it. I think if we were to start it again today, we would start it totally different.
Yeah.
Just because we learned so much going through that process.
Totally. So if you're starting a business right now, that's why you clicked on this video, you're being like, well, okay, tell me just what you would do so I can do those things and maybe not having to make as many mistakes as other people or as y'all did. So whenever I was kind of outlining some of these things, I was like, okay, this is what I would really get crystal clear on, and this is what I would do, and not let any outside noise kind of get in the way. I came up with this list. So Lo, I'm curious what you feel on each of these points, and if you differ on it maybe, or if you feel the same. So the first thing that I would do is I would get really clear on the problem that I'm solving. I would get crystal clear on it. I think whenever we were first starting our business, we were clear on a problem, but it was kind of a problem that was pretty broad. I think coming in specifically, understanding how you could be like the one answer to the one major pain point is really critical, especially as you're starting, because then you can expand from there. But getting clear on that problem is the thing that can really help set you apart and help you understand what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's essential. I think in the beginning, especially where we were at, we were trying to do almost like everything for everyone. And I think that's such a common thing that entrepreneurs go through is they're trying to help and they're trying to serve, and they have all these ideas. So being able to hone in and be really specific, like you said, on that gap and how you're building the bridge to help people get to the other side and provide that solution.
Yeah. For example, I mean, we had this physical location and everybody was asking if we could do all these different things, which can be really, amazing because it's helping you identify what people really need, but being able to also move quickly through that and not have to answer to all of those requests is also critical. So,
Totally.
For example, whenever we had our first space, people were asking if we would do the balloon garland and would do the flowers and we would do the photography for the event. We did everything. And it was, it was off track for what our mission really was at the time and what we were really looking to achieve. So that was where I think maybe if we were starting today from scratch, we would probably do differently.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to really take inventory of your time. Specifically when you're first starting, you have to really be able to be accountable for everything you're doing, making sure it's going towards your actual goal.
I think which brings me to the next thing. If I was starting a business today, I would get really, really crystal clear on a vision of a better tomorrow. And for everybody, like not just myself, because whenever you're able to get crystal clear on a vision of a better tomorrow, that's where you can get other people on board with that too. If the vision is only something that like matters to you, that might not matter to an audience group that you're really trying to speak to. So it's really being able to paint the picture of what that vision looks like for a better tomorrow for all of your audience. That you're really looking to track and serve in that way. So that was something I was thinking of whenever I was going through this list, but I'm curious what your thoughts were too.
Yeah, I was just going to add on that. I would say too, like 100%, but also being really clear on how you can define it. So it's almost that like elevator pitch, right? Of being able to articulate the vision, articulate kind of what you are seeing and what you're creating, and being able to do that in a really concise and clear way.
Yeah, totally. And that can take some practice and that can take some time. But I think if you focus on that whenever you're first starting, it's going to set the stage for everything to be a little bit easier. Okay, so the next one is off of that, getting crystal clear on your audience. And this is really essential. You can't be everything for everyone. I think off of those other aspects, like we said, some of our learning lessons from whenever we first started, we were really trying to see where we fit in and how we could be everything to everyone, because that was an intention that we wanted to serve in such a big way. But getting really crystal clear on the audience that we did want to serve and exactly how we wanted to serve them to overcome a specific pain point was maybe some of the clarity that we lacked. We definitely had it, but we didn't have that extreme clarity around it. We were just trying to get started and move and start making money. And we did that, but then ultimately we had to come back to get really crystal clear on what that is. And you have to continue to do that. But if you start with it, I think it's so much easier. What are your thoughts, Lo?
And not going general too with it, being very specific, like you said. I think when we started, we were very general of like wanting to help women, wanting to empower women, wanting to bring them together, but it wasn't clear enough of specifically how we were really helping them.
Yeah.
So painting that picture too with the vision of how you're helping, how you're providing that solution.
Yeah. So that can be really helpful. If you're just starting, it's like getting clear on all of those things. It really doesn't have to take that much time. It just has to take some focus. And if you put some focus there, it can really set the stage for some incredible things as you get started in your business. Yeah. Okay. So obviously this wasn't a thing whenever we were first starting our business, but has now become a thing. And if I was starting my business today, I would use AI like no tomorrow. Like if I was starting a business today, and a lot of like the clients that we work with are starting businesses, we are using AI like all the time. We are using AI in every single aspect and way to think about the business and how to optimize the business. The tools are endless. Like right now is the best time, I think, to start a business than there ever has been in like our generation. There's so many tools at your fingertips. And we didn't have this whenever we were first starting our business, but I can't like think of like how much more ahead of everything we would have been if we had AI.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it's like, don't think you're like too good to use AI or like AI is cheating. Like use it. And if there's anything that you're trying to do that's taking you like exponentially too much time, or maybe you don't have the money to put into it, AI can like 5x, 10x your time to help you get to where you want to be faster without having to spend exponentially like so much money to do a lot of the things that maybe you would have had to do before. So this is like no-brainer for me.
Yeah, it's an absolute game changer. I mean, and utilizing it as a tool, right? Not being afraid of it. I think a lot of people are intimidated of like using chat and knowing how to do it, what to do. They're like, oh, that's intimidating. Yeah. But utilizing it in a way where it is really approachable and accessible and being able to have those tools at hand at all times completely changes the game. I mean, it would have helped us move forward so much faster. Totally. So utilize it now.
So next, this can be really challenging whenever you're first starting a business, but I promise if you can really hone this in, you are going to set the stage for some really incredible momentum. And it is starting simple. Starting simple, and starting streamlined. So if you can start this way from the very beginning, you're going to build some really incredible habits to build momentum in your business. So whenever I say start simple, start streamlined, Lo, what would be some tips that you have off of that?
Yeah, well, I think specifically with like what you're offering, right? Like be very, very clear and streamlined with your services or with your offering.
Yeah.
Of make it so simple of when somebody comes to your brand or your business, they know exactly what you do, how you help, and it's very clear. Yeah. Making it not 10 million offerings, not like, oh, I can do this. Don't be like us. Don't be the balloon archer and the florist and all of the things that we were trying to do at once. It was totally pulling us away from the mission. And so being able to be very clear and concise and start with just a few core services and then grow from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing, which kind of leads me into my next tip that I would give if somebody was starting a business from scratch today. If I was starting a business from scratch today, I'd be telling myself these same things, because sometimes it can be easy to veer off, to get distracted.
Yeah.
And I would really invest sooner in coaches and consultants in specific areas that I wasn't an expert in. I would say whenever we first got started, I think probably still a little bit to this day, I think I can do everything. I think I can figure out anything and everything. Yeah. And why would I pay somebody if I could just figure it out myself? And as I've realized, the more that I've been in the world of business, I think the more seasoned that I've become and just what it means, it's that, you can, of course. And if you really don't have the, let's say you don't have the funds or you don't have like a way to invest in that, I would just reconsider how you're looking at it, because there is always a way. And there's all different types of ways that you can lean on different experts to learn the skill or to get the advice or to get the support in certain areas that could exponentially grow your business. And so this has been something I've had to like learn the hard way, that if you're listening to this, invest in the coach, invest in the consultant, invest in the thing that is going to build momentum in your business. And don't be scared to do that, which maybe at some points I was.
Yeah, totally. I think being able to kind of take that leap and make that investment in yourself, it just shows you that you're more serious about making it happen. And I'll also say too, like another level, maybe right below that, is if maybe you're not ready to make the financial commitment, you can find mentors. And having mentors around you, I think, is super powerful as well. It's not as necessarily as one-on-one as having a coach and strategic, but it can still really be beneficial. And like P said, having it be very clear of that area that you're trying to focus on. So whether it's your finances, whether it's like maybe marketing, maybe it's like scaling your business, maybe it's a certain part that you haven't maybe tackled yet.
Yeah.
Being able to find people that have already done it successfully that can kind of give you those tips and tools along the way can help so much.
Yeah, because the other thing that I've really learned in starting business, it's about moving quick. Yeah. It's about making quick decisions. It's about like being able to make that momentum for yourself, which is all totally within you and you can totally do. The biggest thing that's typically holding people back is the lack of being able to make a quick decision or focusing on the wrong thing at the wrong time. So if you're able to kind of put people around you that can help you make those decisions, maybe a little bit quicker, help you gain a little bit more confidence, whether that be a mentor. I think that's a fabulous tip too, because maybe you can't invest monetarily in that, but there's so many people that want to help you. Yeah. And if you just ask, which is something that I think I had a little sense of at the beginning, but not in the way that I do now.
Yeah. And also I'll say it's like, there's kind of two levels of mentors, right? It's like the physical mentors that you're like meeting with in person, like having calls with, but then also your non-physical mentors, which can be people just that are out in the world that are like thought leaders or inspirational to you, that you can still study them and learn from what they've done, the steps they've taken and kind of model after those steps.
Yeah. So, I remember before cause I was kind of hesitant to hire coaches or consultants or anything like that. I mean, Oprah was my mentor for a long time. Yeah. I would put her on in the morning. I would find a YouTube video, put her on and listen to how she spoke and and how she talked about making decisions and how she talked about leading businesses and really use that as motivation.
Yeah, there's a lot you can kind of like study from people if you really actually pay attention.
Yeah, totally. Really actually pay attention is the key part. All right, so this one might be a little controversial, but if I was starting a business from scratch today, I wouldn't focus on social media first. I would look at my sales more than anything. I would be focused on the problem that I'm solving, the promise that I'm making to the audience that needs that, and how I'm packaging that together and making sure that that formula is just right and people that I'm speaking to, I'm able to actually sell that thing. Because if you don't have a solid package, if you don't have a solid promise, if you don't have a really clearly defined problem, it can be really hard to actually gain momentum in your business and to see that long-term success that I'm sure that's why you're starting your business in the first place, is that you want to see some of that momentum and you want to be successful, whatever that looks like for you. I think there's a lot of things online right now that social media is the answer to everything. And, you know, even as an agency, that's the business that we run, and we run socials for people. I find that the clients that are only solely focused on social media aren't necessarily the ones that have the biggest businesses or are seeing the most success in the way that they want to. They're looking at the whole picture. They're making sure that they're serving their clients really well. Their customer service is excellent, and that they're really making big transformations in people's lives, whether that be with the product or the service that they have. And social media is only a piece of that puzzle. An important piece for sure, but it's not the first and only thing I'd be focused on.
No, I totally agree. I think a lot of people kind of miss that step of they want to jump right into like the fun, the creative, the marketing, the social.
Yeah.
And I think that with how social media is, it has kind of that perception of like this overnight success. You can start posting and become like famous or make millions overnight. And that's just not the reality. I think if you don't have the foundation of your business set, then even if you did get millions of customers, then you wouldn't even be ready for it. Yeah. So it's being able to really focus on the sales, on like the structure of what you're even offering, and then having the like marketing as kind of like the cherry on top. That's
to amplify it all.
Amplify. Yeah. Right. It's bringing in more exposure.
Right. So I think that's a controversial one, but obviously if I was starting a business today, I would look at that a little bit differently maybe than I did before.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one that's on my list. And then if you have any too, I would love to hear them, is I would take full control of understanding my finances from the very beginning. I think whenever I was first starting in business, I know this might be a little contradictory what I was telling you earlier. I was leaning on other people to really just handle it, to handle what the financials were, to handle all of these different aspects of it. And I slowly kind of started realizing that I needed to have more of an understanding myself, even if other people were handling it. And that's something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs avoid at the beginning of their businesses. They avoid legal and they avoid finances. And those are actually the two biggest things that you really need to have a very clear understanding of as you're starting. And it's really not as complicated as it might seem. All of the different financial statements that you need to understand, how you need to understand budgeting and profit and sales, and all of those things are critical. And if you're able to really understand them from the very beginning, you're going to set yourself up for so much success. So whatever this looks like, taking a class, taking a course, watching a bunch of YouTube videos of what that actually means and what you need to look at, going into conversations with your CPA or with your bookkeeper, you're going to be so much more informed versus having them tell you what to be looking at. I would be proactively understanding it for myself so that I can go into those conversations with more awareness, is what I would do now differently.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that when you start anything, it's like you kind of want to like delegate and like lean on the experts, and being able to do that is important, but also being able to have the awareness and the understanding, like you said, it's crucial.
Yeah. And in today's world, with AI, hello, you can really get a good understanding of all of these different aspects and ask it what you should know. What are the things you need to consider? How would you need to go into the meeting with your lawyer or go into the meeting with your CPA or with your bookkeeper to really understand and make sure that you're meeting your financial goals as well. So those are some of my biggest things. If I was starting a business today, these are all the considerations that would be top of mind, that I would really be focused on. And I know that with this formula, it's what I'm giving a lot of the clients that I work with now today, and they see a ton of success. Lo, is there any other thing that you would consider?
I mean, I think that these are all great points and that we covered most of it. I think the only other thing that I would add is like when you're starting something to really look into what your real gifts are and like what your purpose is. Because I think when we're starting something, it's a mission, right? It's this kind of like ongoing battle that you have to have this strength to keep going.
Yeah.
And being able to use your purpose and your soul gifts and knowing that it's tapped into like the bigger reason of why you're spending your time the way you are, right? Like you only have so much time that's limited, and being able to have that legacy, have that impact that you want, and being able to move forward like with that kind of impact. And so being able to be thoughtful of that as you're kind of also just stepping through it from the beginning all the way into like scaling into massive success, having that kind of always top of mind and really staying true to what feels aligned and what feels really good for you.
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful and so critically important. In realizing that it's okay to take some time to really think about these things before you dive in and you start hustling and you start really getting out there and making moves and making it happen, is if you just took, let's just call it a week, let's call it a day, and you really honed in on what these would be, just naturally what flows out of you, that could really set the stage for something incredible. And be open to that it is going to evolve. It is going to change. It is going to become something that you couldn't even imagine from this place starting right now. But that's the beauty of it. You are going to evolve, but you have to have clarity as you start to.
Yeah. Stay flexible, stay nimble, but stay like true to that vision and to your soul's purpose of like what feels good and what feels aligned.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, hopefully that these are some good tips that can help set the stage for you as you start your business, or if you're just going to wipe the slate clean and start the same business from scratch, this could be useful for you too. Don't forget to subscribe. We are actively in the space of creating something magical here on YouTube, and we're just really excited for that. So if you have any questions, put them below. If you liked one of our tips, put it below. If you don't think one of our tips was good, put it below. And we'll look forward to connecting with you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.